It's the spring equinox of 2022. Welcome everyone to Rite of Spring, an Apocalyptarian Puja. I'm going to start us off with a music video, which I hope will help to set the mood for what we'll explore here. It brings together some of the frailty and preciousness and odd juxtapositions of moods and feelings that I think marks our time and also this event. Child, let your heart be kind. May love never be scarce, even in the leanest times. It's all you control in this short and fleeting life. Child, let your mind run wild. You are only young once, and the world is shrinking down. Remain weightless and free. Dare life to hold you down. We are but an unclean thing. Find joy in the filth, joy in our unholy frames. For they are all that we have, so frail and debased. Remain weightless and free, and refuse to be ashamed. So much is lost that should have been saved. Oh, all that we forgot, because we were so ashamed of our animal ways. All right, Layman, I'd like to turn it over to you. Would you like to say anything about the theme for today's ritual and what inspired your sense of being an apocalyptarian?
Those are quite the lyrics. It's like a cross between a Tibetan Buddhist manuscript and a Nine Inch Nails song. Well, we're gathering for spring and to share energy and support and nice things, but there's obviously something else we have to do at this moment of the world. Bruce lifted the word apocalyptarian from an article I wrote recently on this theme. I guess the theme is that the people like ourselves, the liminal people who inhabit the space between and beyond perspectives, also have to inhabit the time between and beyond worlds. And the people who spend part of their energy in the world trying to be more present have to try to be more present to what the world is becoming and figure out more viscerally how to inhabit it rather than escape it. So I'm happy that we're here trying to presence this mood, trying to get better at not just knowing the scale and tempo and likelihood of our peril, but becoming the people who can live in that, whatever it turns out to be. There are definitely some things we can fix and change, but there are so many radical disruption factors already in play that at least some of them are going to radically change what the world is, what humanity and ecology and economy and technology have been. And ourselves and the next people have to live through that. The meta crisis is already on us. So we have to make peace with that somehow. We have to grieve that. We have to let it into our hearts. We have to, even if we're thinking about how can we fix this and improve it, one of the first steps is to really let it in, to really be with it. Can we face it? Can I face it? I don't know, but I'm willing to try. And the mood is not simply one of disaster. It's a mood of a deep uncanniness. We're aware of multiple overlapping catastrophes, and yet we can go out our door and there seems to be still an enormous ongoing continuity of the world. So I think we're in a place where we have these overlapping frames of ancient human experience and consistency and continuity and stability, and at the same time massive disruption and instability and the undermining of many of the basic things we've counted on in order to build a world. So somehow straddling those and occupying that space, living in that gap, not expecting it to quickly move on to the new world, not expecting us to get back to normal, expecting that the age of the next variant in all of its different kinds of forms is going to be ongoing for quite a while. And just coming together to ritually mark that is part of a step toward trying to be better inhabitants of what the world is now. So that's my sentiment.
Yeah, thank you. I know that you have something that you'd like to lead, and I have a couple exercises too, but we want this to be a collectively generated experience. And I have a few things to share that people have submitted to me, but I wanted to ask if there's anyone who's present now that had something that you would want to share live with us.
Hello, everybody. It's lovely to be here, and how weird the word feels, and trying to feel into the appropriate mood. What I'm bringing is giving a giving. It's been very weird and chaotic for me to get to this point now where I'm speaking to you live. And so it's very much off the cusp of the moment and the tip of the tongue. What is coming to you? The general orientation is toward the giving of a giving, as I said, and I take it to be, in some sense, a response to how we can live under or in the apocalyptarian mood. Currently, I'm sitting outside just a social bar restaurant in Wilderness, South Africa. I've driven across the country and I arrived here about half an hour ago. I'm sponging off the Wi-Fi, sitting in my car. I've been called here, or I'm answering a call because traditional healers in my country have told me that I have a calling and they're wanting me to initiate into a tradition. And it started with my younger brother who made this shirt, and he's adopted, and his birth mother, the perspective is that each individual belongs to their parents, and that's where their place of belonging is. That's, if you're confused about that, you're confused more generally. So the confusion that was there for my younger brother was that there wasn't that understanding. So my role has been to speak into that, to correct it so that he can find belonging. I'm wavering off a little bit, so I think I'm going to light a bit of impepo or impefu, depends. It's used to call and commune with your ancestors, and the style is very casual and open. And I've picked up smoking in the last 2 weeks, half on behest of my ancestors, and the other half is I saw a meme that I think Layman said, try smoking for a week as a joke. So here I am. Can't stop. There's a Ganesh that my Christian mother got for me from India. This is a rose given to me by my girlfriend come partner come fiance seeming. I was stopped by a policeman today, and he checked my license, and then he looked at Ganesh and he said, "What is that about?" I said, "Roughly to remove obstacles to love." Then he pointed at the impepu or impefu, and he said, "What's that about?" I said, "To call your ancestors." And then he pointed at the rose, and then he said, "What's that about?" And I said, "My partner gave it to me." Then he looked at me and he was like, "He's in love," and he just dismissed me and walked away, and then I could go along. It's kind of like, it almost felt like a Jedi mind trick, like I was invisible because I was occupying a kind of stupid place of living lovingly, or like easily dismissed. He's in love. Anyway, my partner and I had a really cool moment where we had where we realized meta desire between us. So there had been this conflict, and in a moment of clarity, we could see that the desire was causing a conflict because what was wanted was taboo. And the moment we step back and we could want the thing that was being blocked by the taboo, it like broke open that seal. We created a stage or a container in which something really beautiful happened. I owe that insight to my engagement with the integral stage, really. So part of this is a thanks. I'm going to wrap it up now, and I'm kind of building the courage in what this building gesture seems to be. And it's this that I take to be a response to the apocalyptic mood. It's the gesture, the living of giving, of a mood, an atmosphere, of an internal posture of giving, of saying yes. And shit gets weird, like chaotically so, and in ways that bring up grief that has to be processed. But the point is that it's not our task to figure out or map everything appropriately. And what's given me orientation, guidance, direction has been a single pointed inward giving and opening up my being to direction and guidance so that it can move in the world in these ways that are non-linear, confusing, that I can't really figure out. If I'm doing something and I'm like, why the fuck are you doing this? Then there's a second thought that's like, ooh, maybe you're kind of on a track. And then I keep going with it, and then something comes of it. And here I am now, giving, saying yes, giving this giving, and thanking for this puja. I think I'll leave it there. Thank you to everyone here for this opportunity. It's good to be here with you.
Thank you, Daniel. Anyone else want to say anything in response to Daniel before we move on?
I don't want to say anything. I want to make a libation. Very short. So it involves, I was going to make a toma or find a Shiva lingam somewhere, but I've got a crystal instead. And the crystal can represent our limitless capacities, our pure potentials, which we're going to have to discover and tap into in the next years to come. So by pouring this lovely Pinot Noir over the crystal, I want everybody to feel that nourishment and that offering. I hope I don't drop it. It's very heavy. Right, you ready to feel it, guys and girls? Here we go. Om Ahum. There. Oops, now I can drink it out of the saucer.
Thank you, Jenny. I would like to play something from you, your art presentation. Thank you, Jenny. Anyone like to share anything in response before we move on? You're muted, Jenny.
Sorry. Yeah, I was looking through I've got thousands of files on artwork, and I was bearing in mind Layman's essay and also the whole idea of the ritual. And I just was intuitively picking out ones and then refining it down. So that's how I got to choose. It wasn't an intellectual exercise, really. It was something that just I felt drawn to, those particular ones.
Layman, I know that you have a little bit of a limited amount of time here. Would you like to do your offering with the litany?
Sure. First of all, I'm going to mark myself a little bit with this knife, just so I remember. I'm going to put a little bit of bear grease on. This is from a local Aboriginal powwow here that we haven't been able to go to for a couple of years. But I'm hoping we all get a lot better at becoming Indigenous in the world as it exists. So what I'd like to do is initiate a round. I'll do it first, and then we could go through everybody doing it. And it'll consist of 3 parts, which will, I hope, touch on what we've all been saying, that we're facing something uncanny and unknown, and that involves us working with things we don't necessarily understand. We don't know where appropriate guidance is going to come from on this. It may come from the subconscious. It may come from things that are unintelligible to us or that we only half glimpse and half understand. So I'm going to do a litany of disruptions, an irrational choice, and the chanting of secret gibberish. So the litany of disruptions will be just listing a number of things that you're most concerned about or that are most on your mind about the world situation. The irrational choice is sharing something arbitrary, something that you can't explain, that just comes into your mind relative to all of these things. And then the chanting of secret gibberish will be taking a phrase that's evocative for you and turning it into something unintelligible. So the litany of disruptions. I am worried that my species won't reproduce. I am worried that there will be sudden cascading die-offs among ocean species and that we're ignoring it, just as we're ignoring other ecological situations because we're overly focused only on carbon-accelerated temperature change, which we aren't even slowing down. I worry that a solar flare can take me from the people and art and discourse I love, that the fish I want to eat is full of poisons and strange hormones, that the people I care about are addicted to bad food, that I can make barely any practical dent in this at all, let alone something that would influence it at scale, that the air is getting worse, that the holy places are packed and on fire, that we're facing accelerating displacement of human populations in a world that's terrible at taking people and integrating them in new places. Worried about pandemics. I'm worried about a constant ongoing state of agitation in people. I'm worried about the untrustworthiness of information and the predictable lack of ability of people to handle that well. I'm worried that our governments don't know how or don't want to do anything to build authentic national spirit that would help us be resilient against this. And most of all, I think I'm worried that our strategies to change course are almost all unimplementable. Amen, Amen Ra, Rahor Kwit, Namo Amitabha. So that's the litany of disruptions. The irrational choice, thinking about this, feeling this, there's a stab in my solar plexus around all this stuff. I would say there's a plate of discarded spaghetti in an alleyway under an almost full moon with fragments of charred oregano on it. I have no idea what that means. And 3, the chanting of secret gibberish. I want to say, like, we're fucked and we're not fucked. 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 So those are three ways to try to share outside of conscious linear verbal thinking. So I would invite us to go all around and have everybody try to do something like those three, whatever comes up for them.
Okay, this is super scary, guys. I didn't know I was going to have this level of participation when I came here tonight. So just know that that's where I'm coming from. I am worried about all the people in my life because I have a lot of really amazing people around me who just want to be good and just want to be better than they are yesterday. And they're just crippled by systems that are sticky and just trying to like make their lives harder and waste their time. And my students, like, all they want to do is learn and have a family and be good citizens. And they're just like having to work 6 jobs and take arbitrary tests that don't mean anything and do all, like, it's just, the system isn't made for people to be able to be good. And it's so frustrating to be living in it and seeing where the problems are and what it's doing and not be able to do anything because you're just one person. So, but when I attend events like this, what I'm feeling is, and it seems so stupid to feel this because I look at all the objective facts, but there's a ball of light for me. And it's probably stupid, but that's what I feel there. And I don't know about this one. Okay, so my mantra right now that I'm working on is balance is the key. I think that's the true thing for everything. So balance is the key, 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 balance is the key. Okay. Thank you.
I'm keen to go. I'm worried that I'm never going to get the conscious recognition, validation from the person who's actually looking at me directly in the eyes and conscious of what is going on between us, so that some kind of initiation can happen. I can feel validated in my life path. I'm worried that the more I choose to follow the path that seems to be mine, walk unknowingly step by step, the more I'll alienate myself from my family, the more they'll look at me like I'm weird. I'm worried that they, though they're looking at me like I'm weird, they're also pulling me closer because there's some kind of light, there's some kind of warmth that's coming from me and they want me closer, but I frustrate them and I poke them, so they push me further. And I'm worried that every person I interact with is this kind of zombified, we're there and we're not there, and every few moments, every now and then, you meet someone and there's this base of goodwill and it's glorious. And that's life-giving, and I want to be that for people in my life. The second one, something I care about. I need to help with memory. The second call.
There was sharing something that doesn't make sense, and then there was turning something that you feel into a gibberish chant.
So something that doesn't make sense to me is that after I got COVID, a few months later, I developed this irregularity with my smelling. And some things smell like what I would imagine zombies smell like. I can smell zombies, and in specific places like the restaurant that I'm sitting next to right now, and the people that are walking in and out, it stinks of this. It's like a putrid. What the fuck do you make of that? Yeah, so I don't eat those foods anymore because they make me super gassy. I kind of go to the yogic stuff of tamas. Maybe the stuff is inert and you're gathering inertia, so don't take it in. I don't know. Stuff smells like zombies. I can't make sense of it. This guy, Zach Bush, said that the genome develops through adaptation to virus. So is this now like a superpower from getting COVID? I don't know. That's trying to make sense of it, but okay. The phrase give, I'm giving my life to, oh my God, I'm giving my life to God. I am giving my life to, I am giving my life to God. Yes, 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 yes.
All right, so what am I worried about? That I will just run to the mountains, because that's what my instinct has always been all my life. And this period of life that I entered about 9 years ago has been about learning how to integrate within society and culture and those skills, you know. But things have gone bottom up over the last couple of years, and my feeling is I just want to disappear again and live in the bush somewhere, or up a mountain in the forest or something. So I'm worried that I will just do that rather than engage, as I said, in that libation thing, new capacities and potentialities that I don't even know that I could develop. So that's my worry, if you like. The things that don't make sense, which depends what level you're looking on. And on an ordinary day-to-day human level, nothing really makes sense. But I'm comfortable with that and can dance on the razor's edge, or even without a razor at all. But how that will pan out, I don't know. I'm curious and open to that. I don't like feeling contracted and uncomfortable, so I'll devise ways to be able to stay open and free, and to be able to look at things from many different perspectives that sort of tend to liberate anything which contracts down into a worried or fearful state. I think at my age, I've kind of developed many different tools for that, although new ones are possibly going to be needed. And the gibberish thing. Well, long ago, this is, decades ago, a yogi friend of mine told me his personal mantra was deconstruct and do not conclude. This is like the late 70s, probably. And I thought, that's really far out, and I've used it ever since. It's a bit like Brigitte's theory of dissipative structures. Once you think something's too kind of concretized in your mind, don't reach a final conclusion, just let it deconstruct. So that's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to drum to it, possibly. Right. Deconstruct and do not conclude. Deconstruct, do not conclude. Deconstruct, do not conclude. Deconstruct. And Bruce, why have you gone all diaphanous?
I can't see myself, but perhaps I'm almost ascending after all of this madness and delight. In terms of disruptions, I've just experienced a big one in terms of flooding of the house, and happened 35 years after that happened to me earlier in my life. Became homeless, and almost happened again, floating houseless for 6 weeks, finally settling again. But I'm thinking about how this is happening all over the globe, and how do we roll with that? We're all becoming unhoused in different ways. As a teen, I used to use that word, unhoused, even before becoming homeless, is thinking about what is it that pulls us out of our conclusion, our settlement in presupposition, how we move out into the wild, how we find ways to breathe and live again. And I think that's what's happening collectively. So I worry about the pain and the loss and the confusion of all of that. But I also, having gone through it multiple times, recognize the regeneration that's in there. And I'm facing this year, the specter of mortality close to me and farther. And again, it's looming around the world with COVID, and I'm really worried that we might be moving into periods of great hunger and great loss, the death of systems, the death of many people, and I'm not sure we are resourced as a civilization anymore to really be able to move with that. Maybe no civilization is ultimately, when it comes to the scale of what we're probably facing. And I think about, the failure of our machines and our artificial ways of organizing our lives, and again, what the disruption entails in terms of the suffering that brings, but also a renewal. I remember when I became homeless, and I had no access to electronics and all of those things, how alive I became to a puddle on the street, into the movement of leaves above the tent in the morning. And, there's a reattunement. And so I feel like we're moving into that now. And for nonsense, I'm thinking about a dream, the Montauk moon. But the moon looks like a full moon on a totally clouded sky. It's the moon, it's the father moon that is that calls to everything that has teeth and bites in the deep. And another dream, initiatory dream, someone whispered right in my ear in a way that just sent lightning right up and down the spine. You must learn to bear the weight of the tree. And that was after an experience of becoming a luminous tree that reached up from heaven to earth and just floating and moving up and down the luminous tree. And it felt like plugging in to the whole larger life world, the whole cosmic, energetic flowering that was overwhelming and totally disorienting. So you must learn to bear the weight of the tree. You must learn to wear the weight of the tree. You must learn to wear the weight of the tree. You must bear the weight of the tree. 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 Bettina, you shared with us an image with some words. Would you be interested in reading those aloud if I shared that screen?
Mm-hmm. I would do a little bit more after that.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Right, yeah, I will share that.
Okay. So this is a part of a text that came to me after I contemplated Layman's text for a while. And yeah, you can close your eyes if you like and listen to my words, and I take you with me, and that was my journey which I take on this day, take you with me on a short journey through the different dimensions of consciousness. And if you are aware of your body and the concrete consciousness, the consciousness of the awareness of the concrete, and then follow that to the subtle dimension, to your mind and ideas you have. And after that, we go on into the formless, or the causal, or meta-aware, however you want to call it. And when I contemplated this idea of the apocalypse, I went just a step further, and there came this to me, and perhaps you can follow me. When you break through into the experience of the absolute, this non-space of nothingness, in which nothingness is what you experience as the non-experience of absolute nothingness, and then turn around in this nothingness, which is not a personal experience, but just the emergence of this alter fraction of a millisecond later, from which is nothingness. And where in this alter fraction of a second, everything shows itself to you. All the possibilities of the now, the past, the future, and the never. Everything that happens, has happened, will happen, and also everything that will never happen, without anyone being able to say what will happen and what will not happen, or what has happened and what has not happened. And thus, also all apocalyptic experience, those that have happened, those that are happening, and those that have never happened. And it is the absolute possibility space in which every form of an apocalypse is also contained in the all that arises from the one nothing. And when you are there in this possibility space of all apocalypses, of all possibilities of an apocalypse, and there will be a possibility of an apocalypse you want to bring back with you into existence. So take it with you when you come back, and you can decide what you will do with that. Sacrifice it on our altar here together. Or perhaps sell it for a good price to Hollywood.
And that puts me in mind of another song I wanted to share here. So I will share the lyrics and then play the song. It's not a very long one. A bell must be hollow to sing. It rings, I am empty. So still, so still. Deep water must be to see beneath. To be hollow, with no marrow. Light as a lifted wing, light enough to sing. So still, so still. Deep water must be to see. So still, I am empty. Brigitte, I have the images that you shared with us. It didn't have any sound with it, but I'm thinking it might fit this moment just to watch them together in silence. Does that sound okay for you?
Yes, I'm very old school and not very good in using technology. So this was a very fast trial.
It was beautiful. So I'm going to share that and play that as well. you must learn to bear the weight of the tree. Is there anything you would like to share about the images in relationship to our theme and what inspired you to select them?
Yes, it was more an intuitive selection. It is from a diary, from my diary 2018. And I would say I processed a lot, also German angst. I'm from Germany. And if I see my own pictures now here at the screen, I can see this process of processing my embodied German angst. Yeah, what can I say else? Nothing. The pictures showing the process. Otherwise, I would have to tell long stories, and I'm not interested anymore in telling these lifetime stories. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. I saw in the pictures, through many of them, a sense of a plenum, of a kind of a living field in which the subject was centered. So I felt a strong interplay of the foreground and the background, always shifting there. Does anyone have anything that you would like to share, something that's not submitted to me, but that you feel moved to share at this time?
I just want to say how beautiful it is that this process is just deepening and deepening as we going along. It's something that is very precious, and we need to explore it more. Okay.
if we have time, we could share my other picture to the end. If you have other things, it's fine.
No, I'm happy to share that picture.
Okay.
One moment here.
This picture, this text, I will read it soon, is a product of another process in me, through me. I don't know how to tell. When I'm in contact with all these integral people and liminal web people and on Facebook and so on in this virtual space. And me here, I'm living as a nomad at the moment, and never being so really still located on this earth, on this planet. And I have a wish or a vision, and that's when I see all the petitions in Germany and Europe and so on. I wrote that. Here is my petition to humanity, that it may develop its free consciousness and spare no effort to advance into further dimensions, and from there promote peace. That each human being may see and feel oneself as a transmitter of consciousness and work at every moment to reach the individual consciousness of others and create connection. A planetary network of human peace consciousness.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything you'd like to share in response to Bettina? And I have I think an exercise that will go well with that. We can maybe do that in a second here. I'd like to just invite us all to enter this process together, and we can maybe have some sharing afterwards. Find a comfortable position where you can be relaxed and alert. Closing your eyes. Focus attention on your breathing. Don't try to breathe any special way, slow or long. Just watch the breathing as it comes in and out. As you watch the breath, note that it happens by itself, without your will, without your deciding each time to inhale or exhale. It's as though you're being breathed by life. Just as everyone with you or around you, in this city, on the planet now, is being breathed, sustained in a vast, breathing web of life. Now visualize your breath as a stream or ribbon of air passing through you. See it flow up through your nose, down through your windpipe and into your lungs. From your lungs, take it through your heart. Picture it flowing through your heart and out through an opening there to reconnect with the larger web of life. Let the breath stream as it passes through you, appear as one loop within that vast web, connecting you with all living systems. Now open your awareness to the suffering that's present in the world. Drop for now all defenses and open to your knowledge of that suffering. Let it come as concretely as it can. Concrete images of your fellow beings in pain and need, in fear and isolation, in prisons, hospitals, tenements, hunger camps. No need to strain for these images. They're present to you by virtue of our interexistence. Relax and just let them surface. The vast and countless hardships of our fellow humans and of our animal brothers and sisters as well, as they swim the seas, roam the forests, and fly the air of this ailing planet. Now breathe in the pain, like dark granules on the stream of air, up through your nose, down through your trachea, lungs, and heart, and out again into the world net. You're asked to do nothing for now, but let it pass through your heart. Be sure that the stream flows through and out again. Don't hang on to the pain. Surrender it for now to the healing resources of life's vast web. With Shantideva, the Buddhist saint, we can say, "Let all sorrows ripen in me." We can help them ripen by passing them through our hearts, making good, rich compost out of all that grief, so that we can learn from it, enhancing our larger collective knowing. If no images or feelings arise, and there's only blankness, gray and numb, breathe that through. The numbness itself is a very real part of our world. And if what surfaces for you is not the pain of other beings, so much as your own personal suffering, breathe that through too. Your own anguish is an integral part of the grief of our world and arises with it. Should you feel an ache in the chest, a pressure in the rib cage, as if the heart would break, that's all right. Your heart is not an object that can break. But if it were, they say that the heart that breaks open can hold the whole universe. Your heart is that large. Trust it. and keep breathing. How do we prepare ourselves? How do we predispose ourselves to be conductors and conduits for the grief of the world? For me, that's one of the calls of the Apocalyptarian time. Anything anyone would like to share here?
Yeah, I'll make a response if I may. Hello,
Certainly,
Bruce.
John.
People.
Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, it's lovely to see you all. I've been living through this last hour and listening to the contributions and enjoying their beauty and their terror. And the response that's being evoked in me at the moment is the knowledge that all of the things which I despair of also secretly delight me. And all of the things which delight me, I'm secretly despairing of them. And, does that make me fashionably Erisian, or does it make me a second tier center of gravity kind of a guy? Or does it make me psychotic? Or does it make me something else for which there are no words? I have no fucking idea. And that is really where I'm at with the whole state of the world at the moment, the whole tumultuous, apocalyptic farrago of what is going on is I haven't a fucking clue. As the world descends into tribalism, as everybody is suddenly an expert, not of COVID anymore and pandemic statistics, everybody's now an expert on international relations here in Europe, we all know exactly what's going on. We can shade the various colors of what's going on, map it onto spiral dynamic systems, feed it through the meat grinder of conceptual analysis, do all of this kind of shit, and none of it really, it just kind of bounces off me. I feel like in order to protect myself from it, I need to be made of Teflon. And so all of this stuff bounces off me like water off taut cling film. And I make myself invulnerable to it in order to survive. And then at various preordained times, like this one, like right now, I allow it to move through me. And when it does, it disrupts me in a way that goes beyond anything that I could possibly express in words, beyond anything that I can reach with my heart and within it. I feel that I have the image of standing at the edge of a lake with everybody else in the world, and I'm pissing into that lake. I'm trying not to because, that's politically incorrect, but I'm tied in with everything else and I've got a full bladder, so I piss in it. And at the same time, I'm complaining about the taste of urine because this lake's the only place I can drink out of. And isn't it really fucking wonderful because everybody else can play the ain't it awful game with me. We can all talk about how bad this all is. And this unites us. We're united in our indignation. And that's quite comedic. And it's also tragic. And it's also quite a lot of fun. It's the fun that an agora has sitting on top of a pile of decomposing bodies in an Indian graveyard as its energy body is strong enough to actually digest all of that experience. Some days I wake up and I can put all of this into my spine. I can just take it straight into the Sushumna and I can digest all of this experience. And sometimes I just feel like it's a crippling burden, like a large black tarry mass that envelops me like some kind of bad CGI horror movie and just crushes the life out of my cells as it contracts me into a singularity from which I cannot emerge. And, you know, I just gone past that place where, in order to really feel safe, you know, it's not about hardening the heart, but it's about being suitably integral or meta-modern. You know, we're using one of the beautifully inclusive theories just to explain the world away so I can feel safer from it. And every time I try to explain, I find myself one remove from it. And I just don't do that anymore. I think the thing, finally, that I want to say that both delights me and causes me this anguish is the mechanicalness of human beings. I feel, I like Gurdjieff, you know, all evil is mechanical. And it's this autopilot, it's this automaticity that is currently driving the world, that is causing the Titanic to sink, and all those people who have got all of the resources are sort of climbing higher up till eventually they're just going to, like, you know, be sitting in Leonardo DiCaprio's lap. Because everybody else will have fallen off. And that's probably Elon Musk, immortal and living on Mars, you know. Fuck. It's a shame, really. But I suppose, like, if I subscribe to the idea that we'll reincarnate, fuck it, we'll reincarnate. Right, okay. I mean, God knows what we're going to come back as, possibly not on this planet, you know, who knows. But and in the end, there's dancing and there's chocolate. And I eat chocolate and I love to dance. And, you know, after this, I had to take a COVID test, you might have seen, like, while we're doing it, because, like, I'm going to go and eat very shortly. And then I'm going to talk to lots of Ukrainians on a Zoom call because I'm teaching them trauma management. I'm one of a team of trauma management people. So I've got to do that. I'm the Sunday afternoon guy who does that. And then after that, I'm off to Brighton Dome Theatre and I'm going to watch Dita Von Teese, who is, if you don't know who she is, she's like a burlesque queen, like, you know, the queen of the burlesque universe. She was married to Marilyn Manson once, apparently. I have no idea what to expect. I don't know what she's going to be doing, but I'm hoping there will be nipple tassels and fishnets. And I'm going with my wife and also the richest person that I know, somebody who's worth an awful lot of money. We're all going to be sitting in the cinema for the first, in a theatre for the first time in 3 years. I'm going to a theatre. And that's my life. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, John.
May I share?
Yes.
So sometimes I'm sitting here and I'm thinking the one human consciousness is really tired of this word. and of this experience, and visualize its own man-made sun for the end. And then this moment, I think, oh, there's such a lot of fun in this one human consciousness. So I have hope.
I have something, perhaps. I mean, at work, I had to step away for a little bit, so I didn't get to do my Layman. So perhaps I can do that. But first, thank you, Bruce, and thank you, disenzoommed Layman. So my worry is that this wonderful thing that brings us together, media, also takes us away from being local. And in our move to being planetary, we fail to touch Earth. And I worry that our 24-hour news cycle feeds us fear, feeds us hate, when we need a news of love, yes, we see war. So take a chance today to touch Earth, to touch Mother. Second part, love is the law, love is the law, love is the law. Love is not a law, love is not a law, love is not a law. Love is an offering, love is an offering. Love is an offering.
I have an offering from Jenny that I think is a good earth close way for us to close here. I'm going to share that. Thank you, Jenny. I found archived online from back in the 80s a poem I wrote at a very transitional time after having experienced many deaths in my life suddenly within a very short period of time, and kind of raging at the light and raging at myself. And there's a bit of the teenage angst in this poem, but I still want to share it because I do feel there's something that connects to the mood of this time, at least my mood in this time. Suddenly awake by the dark lake in a drift of rain, the secret water still as owls in the dim wood, and the ringing grass against the wire fence, wind bent crooked leaning from the field to dip quiet water, drag shadows fishing for the slip of fish in the gentle rain, brush the lengths of silverbacks like the hand of God. I plunge my hands to shake the still scene. I am chipped glass. I am ostrich-tongued in the church of this silence. The sky goes black in a murder of crows. I wail and rage at the water's edge in a drift of rain, dance in a drop of water, drop in the black lake naked where I fell, wax winged from the sun and gulp the brackish water and the bubbled air till my lungs are stung, hack, cough black water in the roar of my rejection, crawl, crawl till I fall, face down in the mud of the shore, warm as a nest of birds, and breathe and beat my heart against the firm earth, my feet in a wash of water, brushed by fish or graced, the plunged hands of the trees in fierce communion, so quiet I might have died. Were you speaking, Jenny?
No, I just wanted to express how beautiful that was. How amazing.
We should do something more like this often.
Yeah, I feel that
You're
although
here.
lots of acquaintances in the ordinary world, if you like, the real heart friends, heart brothers and sisters are in this community, and I need to somehow deepen my ability to feel that this is good enough for the time being to meet like this. I just really want to be all together at a party or in the woods or around a fire or something like that. It's very hard. It's almost painful that there's this limitation, but it's also very beautiful. So thank you so much, Bruce.
Yeah, thank you.
There's a Samaya here.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Abudu. Abudu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Habli bop.
More.
How'd you make it go off?